What's up, guys? It's Matt with the YouTube channel BleepinJeep, and today we're here with Jeremy, the infamous Rose.
Hola.
So we did some testing for some products for NOCO, and we want to talk to you about them today. So we tested out their Genius Booster Pro, the GB150, and we'll show you here in a minute how that did. Jeremy, you also tested out their charge light. It's just basically a flashlight. And then I tested out the NOCO X Grid, which is basically a cell phone charger. And what else did we test? Oh, I had a little small version of one of these, which is just for jumping off cars and things like that. This one is actually for jumping heavy equipment and diesels and big trucks, things like that. So let's start off with the NOCO X Grid. Now, I used this to charge my cell phone, and I wanted to do a comprehensive test on how many times it would charge the cell phone. So I started out with my iPhone 5, and I realized quickly that my iPhone 5 has a problem, which is if you let it sit for too long, it just goes dead overnight. So then I went to the iPhone 4 because the iPhone 5 only charged 2.1 times and then about 2.5 times, but that's not this fault of the X Grid, that was my phone. So when I went to my old iPhone 4, it actually charged it 5 times before the battery went dead. So this would be great for if you're out like camping or something like that, you don't have access to a charger. And the only issue that I had with it is that this cord that it came with, it's I don't even know what kind of cord that is.
Micro USB.
You think?
I think.
But it's different.
Or a mini USB. Sorry, I said that wrong. Mini. It's mini or micro, one of them.
One of them. But the problem with it is I don't have any more of that. So every once in a while I would lose this cord and I wouldn't be able to charge it. Now there's another charge input here, which I think your GB150 came with a port like that, right? But the X Grid didn't come with that port, so I was only able to charge it through this micro USB?
Mini or micro, one.
One or the other. I was only able to charge it with that.
Same as my Android.
And the only other negative that I found was that it didn't come with this piece, so you have to go out and buy that. Or you can plug it into your computer. I'm sure, though, if you have a cell phone of any kind, you've got one of these lying around somewhere. So, other than that, it's got a little light on it. How do you turn that on? A little flashlight, that comes in handy. And the mini booster that I got, too, has the flashlight on it, too, which I actually did use it one night when I needed to jump. But we'll talk about that in a second. How about this flashlight?
I think Matt touched base earlier on how awesome their packaging was. Like, impressive for just a little flashlight. Like, just how impressive this little, packaging and stuff was. The way it all came and how it was all done. Now, this is the little flashlight right here. It's a little square flashlight. It has a 5 volt in, a 5 volt out for the mini or micro USB, and then a regular USB. And it's really nice little dude. It's got the little power button here that tells you how your battery's doing and whatnot like that. And then you just turn it on and it works. So it's got about 5 settings of lights, and then it's got a strobe at the very end, which is very nice. The strobe I don't have a use for, but the other lights are. When the way it was square at first, I thought, I don't really think that's like that all that great that it's square. All my other flashlights are round. I had it a week and I was like, it's square and it's awesome. It doesn't roll anywhere. It sits on my console in my truck like that and doesn't go anywhere. So that was really cool. All the other flashlights roll around.
I never thought about that.
I didn't think about that either until I'd been riding around for about a week and it hadn't moved. I was like, that's really cool. So that being said, that's nice. But the one thing that I thought was really cool it came with, it comes with a charging dock that you can put anywhere. And has a little charging dock that plugs into it. So you don't have to just plug it in. You can just have that set up, throw it on there, boom, charges easy. Or like what he's talking about with that. It's pretty simple. And it does come with the little piece that his didn't. See?
I don't think that came with this.
Well, this did.
I
It even
could,
says it on it. I didn't
I
lie.
could be wrong. Don't quote me on that.
This
but
doesn't.
If
This
it
did not come with
If
it.
it did, I lost it.
So this did not come with this. I will say that. The 150 did not. But it came with the cord, it came with this, and this really awesome packaging, like I said, with the charging dock, which is really cool. So that's what I gotta say about the flashlight. But the fact that it's square, I thought was weird when I first got it. But after a week, I fell in love with that. Now, the other thing that this does do, I forgot. It is a battery pack. You can plug this into it and charge your phone. That was one thing I almost forgot. Really neat. It charged my phone to 50% and it's an Android 6. That being said, 50% is better than nothing. I thought 50% was pretty good because my other one I've got, it only goes to 50%. But there's a big size difference between that and that. So you have a flashlight, you need to charge it. There you go.
Now, you did mention to me one negative of that flashlight, which was the brightness.
Oh yeah, it is a flashlight, but it's not the most powerful flashlight you've ever had in your life. When it's really pitch black outside, it's fine. But if you need something where it's not pitch black or whatever, it's not that great. Like underneath a car or something, it wouldn't be that great. You want more shine underneath there. You want something a little brighter. But it is really nice, but it does have the beam of an average LED flashlight, nothing real fancy.
So maybe for camping, and then if you happen to need to charge your cell phone, you got a little bit extra charge there.
Yeah, like I said, it was nice. So that's not bad. But like I said, in the real world, it wasn't all that bright.
All right, guys, let's move on to the chargers. Now, these are made to boost off your vehicle. Like, let's say your battery dies, you leave your headlights on, something like that, and you just need a boost. Instead of going and getting your jumper cables and finding another vehicle like you used to do, you just carry one of these around with you. Now, I tested the smaller one of these. I don't have it with me right now, but it's probably about that big. It's only about a quarter of this size. And like I said before, the packaging was awesome. These things are very well designed. They look great, and it worked for me. I needed to jump one of my vehicles one day. The battery died, got it out, and it worked. So the only downside that I saw with this is that you have to keep it charged. That's one thing that I always forget to do, but obviously that's obvious that you have to keep it charged. I kept it in the back of my wife's car, just plugged in, and it stayed charged, and I just kept it in a little cubby hole there. Now, I have seen a few videos online ragging about these things, and the reason is, I think, is because they were trying to do things that these are not designed to do. They're designed to jump vehicles. This one guy I saw, he was trying to weld with it, and he was trying to run a water pump with it, and it didn't work. But that's kind of obvious that it's not going to do those things. It's not designed to do that. So for what it's designed to do, mine worked. And we just tested this on an F350 outside. We'll show you that video now. Alright guys, so we've got the GB150. We're going to put it to the extreme test here. We've got a F350 diesel with 2 batteries. It takes 2 batteries to start this thing. We're going to see if this battery will do it. We've unhooked both batteries on both sides. Let's hook it up, see what happens. Now on the GB150, there's a button here. You have to hold it for 5 seconds if you don't have it hooked up to any batteries at all. You hold it for 5 seconds, and then now it'll jump. If it's got more than 2 volts, it'll automatically read, and you can jump off automatically. So we tried it on this battery, turned the motor over really great, but it just didn't have enough power to operate the electronics and turn the motor over. My gauges were bouncing around just a little bit. Hooked up the other battery, started great. So we're going to try those cables over there, because these cables connect to those cables, and it's just a little closer to the engine. Now we're trying something here that's not designed to be done. We're just trying to see how powerful it is. It takes a lot of power to turn over a diesel,
And this thing has enough power to turn it over with no batteries connected, period. And that's pretty impressive. It's not starting the truck, but still turning them over is pretty impressive. So we're going to try this right here and see if it'll start it. And if it doesn't, it's not supposed to, but you saw it turning over and it has tons of power to do that. And that's a little bitty box. There's two ginormous batteries doing the same thing almost. So it worked. Whenever you jump off a diesel and it has two batteries, they always say to jump off the battery that has both cables going into it. So we moved it over there just to try because we had to lead through this battery into that, through those cables and then down. So hooking it to that one, that little pack started this entire diesel truck, which is pretty awesome. Everything inside was working, blowing just like normal. I had the AC on and everything. That's pretty impressive. None of the batteries are connected.
Was it doing anything to the electronics in there? All the gauges working?
Yeah, everything was great that time. We just got a little closer to all the electronics.
Some people are going to think that we lied, so can you start it again? See if it'll
There
start?
these are.
I'm going to videotape the battery connections while you're starting it.
All right.
Okay, so this one is unhooked. You can see. Unhooked. Sweet. Success. Alright, so it worked. Jeremy, what do you have to say about this sucker?
I've jumped off. We have tons of equipment in my daily job, and I've jumped off probably 8 or 9 pieces of equipment. We just did the testing on the truck, and I mean, like, that was a lot of pulling power out there. And if we hit the button right now and look at it, it says it's at 75%. I haven't charged it but the one original time. And I mean, we just started the diesel with it. Now it was 100% before we started, but I've jumped like 8 or 9 other things off already with it.
So you only charged it one time?
Yeah, I've not charged it.
Jumped 8 or 9 things and then the truck?
And then the truck, and it's still at 75.
That's cool.
Yeah, so it's real cool there. Flashlight wise, the flashlight on this thing is quite a bit brighter than what he had. Now the next thing is, if I do this right here, it's got dimming and then has an SOS function. So I guess you could lay this on the road, if you get what I'm saying, behind your car if you really had to, and hopefully somebody would stop and help you. That's pretty cool. I mean, if you were in a real big pickle and needed some help and, you know, and wrecked or something, went off the road and family was in the car, you could just maybe set that down and go back to it. I mean, I don't know if that's the use for it, but
does anybody still know SOS anymore?
I don't know. White flashing light on the side of the road. Maybe you stop. I don't know. The only trick to this thing, I kind of said it in the video out there, but you hook it up, and as long as your battery has over 2 volts, it automatically is ready to go, and it reads, and everything's ready, and you hit the button, and it's ready to jump. No big deal. If you don't have a battery in there, like we did out here, we were doing this testing where you just wanted to start something with no battery and go from there, or your battery was just completely dead because you left the lights on so bad it would just ran it completely down. You hold the button for 5 seconds, it manually overrides the jump start, boom, and that works great. Now, on the other sides of this, we got an in and an out. So it's got USB out, the 12 volt out, 12 volt in, and USB in. So with the charging on this, kind of like what Matt was talking about, this comes with this little nifty little bag for it. Same kind of thing. Has a little bitty cable to charge it with the same micro mini or whatever, and you have to still have your little adapter or plug it in your computer. We plugged this in for what, 2 hours when we first got it, and it didn't barely do anything. So apparently it charges really slow with this. Now, after I got home with this, I realized on the packaging of the box, it says it charges in like 15 minutes to drop off a car with this guy. So this little dude right here, when I first got it, was kind of like, still like, what's this? So plug that in a cigarette lighter of a other car that's running, and this comes off. It plugs into the end here, and you charge this. I think it's at 15 minutes or 5 minutes. It charges this enough to jump off a car, which is pretty cool. So you said dead battery car, you know, or you said this runs dead. you knew you needed to jump somebody off real quick and you ran to their house to go do it, plug this in on your way and you're going to be charged up plenty enough to do that when somebody gets there. Now, I didn't quite understand this at first until obviously I read the instructions and figured it out. This pulls off this side. This turns around, goes into here, and then this goes into that side, and now you got a 12 volt outlet to run anything 12 volt, which is really cool. But at first I didn't figure that out. I was like, man, this thing's got like all kinds of cool stuff, but I didn't know what it was. So that's that, and then a regular USB out too. So I imagine if Matt wanted to charge his phone off this, he could probably do that more than 5 times. So, but I didn't try anything 12 volt running on it wise, but
I want to take that camping and charge my cell phone 800 times with that sucker. I bet you could.
You totally could. Just think about like, and I know camping ain't its function, but you take it camping and you got a little 12 volt fan or a light or anything like that that you could plug into this thing. I bet it would run it a really long time, because that is nowhere near jumping off anything, the amount of power that would use. But the cool part was when you hook this up to another car, it charged this up. I'm doing it backwards, but it charged this up really, really fast to the point you could jump somebody off real quick. So even if you didn't have jumper cables, which you wouldn't if you had this, and you ran up and this was dead, put it on the car that's good, charge it up, bam, booyah, you're good. So this was really cool. The only thing I could probably ask is the bag is fine, but I just don't feel like there's a ton of protection. In a sense, I would really like for there to be maybe just a little bit heavier bag, or
maybe a box.
A box would be phenomenal. You know, just not much of something, I guess, but...
The only negative that I saw when I unboxed this was that I was expecting it to have a 110 plug to be able to plug it into the wall, and I didn't find that. I guess that's the way it is because it's a battery operated thing. It's 12 volts. It wouldn't come with that, but I just figured that if you did have something that would plug into the wall, it would charge that much faster, and it didn't. But on the positive side, don't you think that those are really cool? Like, they're really well built.
Oh yeah, like if you can see right here, that's the actual electronic connection there, where the other side's kind of hollow, it's just for grip and clamp. That's where it makes that connection, and man, that's, like you pick up a nice set of jumper cables, they don't even look like that. So these are high quality, there's no doubt. You won't be replacing these anytime soon.
Yeah, it's really high quality on that connection right there. And the gauge, that probably looks like, it's 4 gauge.
It's a 4 gauge, yeah.
4 gauge wire. So to jump a vehicle, it works perfect. Welding, probably not so much. But did you have any negatives that you found on this?
No, not with this. You know, not at all. I mean, like, I hooked it to stuff and it started better than it did when it had a new battery in it. So I mean, it's obviously got some serious cranking in it.
You told me a story where you turned this off and you went to crank something and it went really fast. What was that?
Well, no, that's when I did it. I turned it on. I held it for 5 seconds, and it just really like jumped it off because the battery I was trying to jump off was under 2 volts. Okay. So it wouldn't jump it. So then I knew that it would because I ran through that in the instructions. And I went back and read the instructions, and it said to hold that for 5 seconds. Then it lit up like it did, and then when I hit the switch, man, it just was like boom. Just unbelievable. Just a piece of equipment that somebody left the key on all weekend. Ran the battery completely dead. And most of your equipment that we have has like a timer, you know, for the hours. And it'll just run them dead or something like that. And that's exactly what happened in this case. This wouldn't even naturally pick it up because it didn't have less than 2 volts in the battery. But when I put this on there, that thing was spinning over like crazy. So this was way more powerful than the normal battery that's on that piece of equipment. And it says 12 volt, 4,000 amp. I don't know what that means, but a cranking amp out there, I think my batteries out there are like 1,000 cranking amp. So I'm not saying it's cranking amp because it doesn't say that, but there's a lot of power behind this pack. So
he had more colorful words when he was talking to me on the phone, but he said when he went to turn over that piece of equipment, it was like 5 times the normal rate, and it was like, "Dee-dee-dee-dee-dee."
Yeah, it was screaming. That's all, I mean, no doubt. It was screaming. I was like, whoa! Like, this thing's got horsepower now. Like, it was pretty funny. So it was definitely kicking it.
And we got one other thing, and that was some battery terminal protection.
Protector. It comes
in a little bottle, and you're supposed to put it on your battery terminals or your battery post to keep it from corroding.
Yeah, if you got good clean terminals, you just put this protector on there. It's a red protector. You've probably seen the little red spray that you can get at the Bart store, and you spray it on there and it makes a mess and it goes everywhere. This stuff was almost thick as grease. Like, it was really nice, like really thick molasses. And I hated that I forgot it. It was sitting right beside this. It's just a nice little can. It comes with a brush, so you pull it out, you wipe it off, and you just brush it on there. And it's just real nice. And it was thick. I've used it on a couple things, but we haven't had it long enough to really be able to say it was awesome, other than the quality of what you see in it. Right,
Yeah, with something like that, you got to wait for a year or two to see if it corrodes or not. So we'll see if that works or not. But
the quality of the liquid that's inside of it was really nice. Like, it was real thick. It wasn't watered down or anything like that. It was real nice. You put a real thick coat on stuff real easy.
right.
So
If you are looking into getting one of these things, even if you would just want to put it in the back of your car for safety's sake, we'll leave the website and the links below. Alright guys, thank you for watching. We appreciate it. We'll see you in the next video.
bye, guys.